Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and today we're going to have a look at the GFS, the GEM, the Arpeggio and the Icon model, along with the Met Office warnings for the upcoming snow over the next few days. Now, I've already done a video today about the big freeze we could be seeing coming up in February, where there's a decent chance we see some of the coldest air we've had over the UK since the beats from the east. So I'll link that video. Make sure you check that out if you haven't already. It's looking likely that we could be seeing some very cold conditions returning again in February, with even more chances of snow. But we'll run through the snow potential just for the next few days into next week now. So first we'll have a look at the GFS run. And as you can see, we got the precipitation starting to edge up from the southwest. A few snow showers further north and eastwards, but again, those won't amount to too much. It's really where this weather front hits the cold air and turns to snow. It does look like initially most areas will actually be seeing rain, but as it interacts and with colder air, we do get some evaporative cooling. It's likely to start to fall to snow on its northern edge. It's looking like at the moment, mostly Wales and sort of the West Midlands, really looking at snow, and anywhere that's giving you elevation always has a better chance of seeing some more snow. As we move through Saturday, it does look like it will start to fall as snow more widely as the band sinks southwards. And most areas within this sort of region could be seeing some falling snow. Again, accumulating snow only really looking like at the moment it's over higher ground, but then I can't rule out it falling and accumulating slightly in other areas as well. As we move through, that low pressure moves away, and then we sort of see a similar sort of system move in on Sunday, bumps into the cold air and produces some snow. However, it doesn't look like it moves too much inland, so it is looking like it's affecting southwestern areas and parts of maybe the West Midlands into Wales, and parts of southern areas could see some more snow, especially those areas over Wales with some snow on Saturday as well. Plus this, we could be seeing a good almost 10 inches of snow potentially over the high ground. Beyond that, we remain fairly showery with some more snow around, and as we head into Monday, an air low pressure bumps into the cold air again, and we see sort of another transitional snow event, where initially heavy snow on the leading edge, before turning back widely to rain on its back edge. Again, that could bring some big snow totals over Scotland and northern England. As we finish there, we see milder air coming from the southwest, with much milder conditions, and only likely to really have snow over sort of Scottish Islands, where generally most precipitation this time of year does fall as snow. Well, now have a look at the GEM model. See where the GEM model follows with what the GFS does. It'll be interesting to see what it shows. It shows initially a lot of rain, and then it starts to turn to snow on its leading edge, and that snow sort of expands, heads towards more East Anglia, parts of Wales, central England as well, and as it pulls away, even parts of potentially sort of southern England, sort of M4 northwards parts of southern England, maybe Oxford over towards London could see a bit of snow, and as it pulls away widely, a bit of snow falling potentially. So again, it does look like there will be some falling snow. Whether we see any accumulations is still uncertain at the moment, as the air over especially the parts of the Midlands and the southeast and East Anglia is around 7 or 8 degrees at the moment, so the ground isn't freezing. It will rain probably before the snow arrives, so it does look like the ground will not be sort of conducive for any settling, but again, I could be wrong. Some of these systems have changed a lot in sort of nowcast situations where it's forecasted mostly rain with a bit of snow, and then it all falls as snow. We've had situations like that before, and you can never rule out that happening. But it does look like the most likely scenario at the moment is to see parts of Wales, maybe Western England, seeing mostly snow, where we could see some decent accumulations. Elsewhere, could see a slight covering, but it does look like there'll be at least some rain at the beginning, with it sort of turning to snow as the system moves through. But as we look into Sunday, we'll see whether this moves further in. And you see, actually on Sunday, the GM moves the system much further northwards and eastwards, and the air's a lot colder come Sunday. It's cooled down. It's only a few degrees above freezing in most areas during the day. And we see some heavy snowfall move into Sunday, into Monday morning. That could provide a big dumping of snow, actually, for central parts of England. perhaps Wales as well, even getting to East Anglia potentially. Good few hours of snow there, and it does definitely look like definitely look cold enough for snow. The dew points definitely look colder, so we could be seeing some more significant snow as Sunday. Now the GM run isn't supported by the GFS, but again, it's not the first time the GFS could be wrong with something. So very interesting to see that happening. We'll have to look at the icon and the Arpeggio in a minute, see whether they back that up as well. But it does fizzle out through Monday, and then weather fronts moving through Tuesday. Again, potentially some big snow on the leading edge before turning back to primarily rain. But again, you could see some big snow totals in parts of Wales, northern England, maybe even parts of East Anglia as that weather front moves through. So looking over the next couple of days, some areas could see quite a lot of falling snow. I wouldn't necessarily say there will be some big snow totals totting up, apart from mainly over hills, just simply because between these sort of snow events, it does look like there will be some rain, and the ground will be quite wet, not particularly frozen, so it could wash it away as such and not settle as much. But we could be seeing some big amounts of falling snow, perhaps even parts of central England, even East England and Wales. The Midlands could be seeing falling snow on Saturday, Sunday, early Monday, and then again early Tuesday as well. So 4 consecutive days potentially of falling snow. Very interesting to see that. Beyond that though, again, maybe some more snow over northern hills and parts of Scotland, and then milder air moves in from the south before potentially turning colder towards the end of the run. Remember, check out my video from earlier, looking at the longer range for the potential for some very cold conditions coming in by the end of the week. We'll now have a look at the icon model, see whether that's supported with the GFS, the GM, or is a bit in the middle. I skipped all the way through by accident. But as we have a look at the icon model, you can see it bumps into the cold air, turns to snow mostly over Welsh hills. So the icon is a bit more pessimistic. Welsh hills, perhaps parts of the West Midlands, then starts to turn more readily to snow in the snowband, so parts of eastern England, maybe even getting into parts of sort of London, north of London, central England, parts of the Midlands, could be seeing a bit of falling snow on Saturday afternoon, but it's mainly be Wales where we could see some accumulations, maybe parts of West Midlands as well again. As that moves through, we get quite a cold night into Sunday, and then next weather fronts try and bump into the cold air, don't make particularly good progress. So again, this icon model supports the GFS with the weather fronts not making it in, unfortunately, while the air is a lot colder. But as we move into Tuesday, more widespread falling snow on Tuesday, and with probably frozen surfaces, it could be accumulate quite widely with that, before turning back to rain on its back edge, and then some heavy rain potentially, and then again more heavy snow over higher ground as we move through more heavy snow in northern England. So looking like some areas, especially over elevation, could see some big dumpings of snow. Again, I would really favour over the hills. A couple 100 metres of elevation gain could do the world of difference between seeing a bit of falling snow, maybe some light accumulations, and then a good few inches of snow. So elevation is very key in this, as it's going to be very marginal, whatever happens with these events. But I wouldn't rule out many areas in central, southern, perhaps eastern parts of England seeing some falling snow at some point over the next few days. Lastly, we'll have a look at the Arpeggio model. If we run through the Arpeggio model, it forecasts a rain band come in early Saturday. Initially, mostly as rain, perhaps snow over Welsh hills, and then it turns more widely to snow around midday on Saturday for quite even for lowland areas, getting into maybe London, central England, maybe even hints into southern or southeastern parts, but eventually just pulled away. So it's looking like definitely falling snow for some areas and not too much accumulation. Beyond that, if we run through overnight, quite cold night into Sunday, maybe a few showers around in the north, and then the next weather fronts try and bump into that cold air. Don't make too much progress, but then they do start to bring a bit of snow to Wales, western parts of England, and then do move further south and southeast, but it shows more rain by that point. So Icon definitely more progressive with that, more on lines with the GM again. So not really a main consensus between these four models at the moment. So very interesting to see that. There's still a lot of uncertainty over Sunday into Monday, potential for some snow. Now, overnight Monday, we start to see that weather front move in, widely falls of snow, even to some lowland areas, part of central England, East Anglia, again seeing some falling snow, perhaps accumulating in areas, before it's eventually turning back to rain, and maybe even lingers as some snow further northwards. That's quite optimistic from the Arpeggio, showing quite widespread snow, even into Tuesday once milder air is trying to be introduced. Very interesting there from the Arpeggio. So again, could be some widely decent significant snow on Monday into Tuesday, parts of central and northern England perhaps, and even parts of the south, getting into East Anglia. Could see at least a few centimetres perhaps in this sort of scenario. If we have a look at the weather warnings, now you can see ice warning further north and east, parts of Scotland, north east England. A few winter showers around, it's going to be quite a cold night as well. Rain warning in the southwest, and then if we move into tomorrow, those warnings remain, and then a snow warning comes in force. And you can see mainly it's over Welsh Hills, parts of West Midlands, maybe even getting into a bit of southern England as well. Again, at the moment, they think perhaps 3 to 7 centimetres, and then 10 to 15 above 250 centimetres, 250 metres, sorry, and then over higher peaks of Brecon Beacons could be maybe 20 centimetres. So again, elevation really doing you well with this. Sunday, no warnings, but then into Monday, as the weather fronts move in, see snow and ice warning for central England, into northern England, parts of Wales, northeastern England, getting all the way up to sort of Newcastle. Again, generally just probably a warning just for falling snow at the moment. It's looking like weather fronts will be bumping into cold air. Anywhere really in this region could see some falling snow, and potentially, if things align right, could see some settling snow as well, some decent accumulations perhaps within this area. I wouldn't say this whole area will get decent snow, a couple centimetres, but areas within this is the most likely at the moment. Again, I wouldn't rule out parts of East Anglia, maybe London, maybe even further south of this snow warning. For seeing some falling snow, just at the moment it's looking like any issues and transport disruption is most likely going to be in this yellow warning, and that yellow warning remains the same through Tuesday and Wednesday. I very much suspect though that this warning will either be moved or be shrunk down as we get nearer to the snowfall events, as it's looking like quite a large warning area, and looking at those models, it's very much all the models have slightly different areas seeing snow, but again, very limited where we'll see that disruptive weather. So I wouldn't rule out perhaps an amber warning coming into force in certain areas if we do see persistent snowfall, in maybe parts of Wales as well. But I suspect the snow warning may be shrunk down and may be moved as well as we get nearer the time, because it's quite early to be calling yellow warnings, especially for Tuesday, Wednesday time in 6 days time. Very, very long way out, but it's the Met Office must have decent confidence that we will be seeing some falling snow at that point. Lastly, we'll have a look at the weatherchannel.com. I have to refresh the live radar, and if we pull it up, you can see at the moment there's a lot of drizzly sort of showers around, and there's some snow showers and winter showers further north and eastwards, and that, I suspect, is why there's an ice warning out. And then you can start to see the weather fronts moving in, coming into southwestern England, already reached parts of Cornwall, bringing heavy rain there, and will start to bump into the cold air and move and turn generally to some snow over Wales. Now, the big weird thing with this snow event is, I've highlighted a little bit earlier, but it's the fact that the cold air is not already in place. As this weather front moves in, the colder air is digging in, is heading towards it. These sort of weather fronts are, so the weather front is sort of meeting the cold air. So at the moment it's around 6, 7, 8 degrees for most areas of England, maybe a bit colder further north. So the ground's not going to cool down. The low temperature at the ground, temperature on the roads, it's going to be a few degrees above freezing at least, if the snow does fall. So that's why I suspect it'll be wet snow falling and perhaps slushy conditions if you do see accumulations, apart from over higher ground where it's likely to right now be even colder. Parts of Wales perhaps already are pretty quite cold at the moment. So that's one reason why I would say, even though it does look decent for falling snow, I suspect accumulations may be more limited than those weather maps showed. And that just to back that up with this is the image. If we can put it up again, let me just refresh it. I've put the layers back on. If we go down to future 48-hour snowfall, we move it all the way to Sunday at 6 p.m. This is generally what the Weather Channel think for falling snow. So this would be done by radar estimates. This is where they think falling snow is going to be. So yeah, generally over Wales, and you can see why the Met Office has their yellow warning for us. Parts of Wales and then parts of the West Midlands seeing decent accumulations, perhaps. Again, remember this is falling snow, so parts of Wales seeing maybe 20 centimetres, 15, 20 centimetres of falling snow, and over the hills it's likely to accumulate. Other areas I like to see maybe between 3, 4, 5 to 10 centimetres of snow falling, remember, but generally quite unlikely to accumulate in most areas. But you could see some slight accumulations with that. And then again, you see parts of southern areas coming up to East Anglia is patchy and quite light. So again, decent chance of seeing some falling snow within that. But I doubt there'll be much accumulations. It'll be very much a nowcast situation, because if the temperatures are maybe a degree or two colder tomorrow than forecast, you may see an hour or two of more snow. Therefore, the chance of it accumulating goes up. But again, it could be vice versa, and this whole event could fall as rain, apart from over higher ground. But again, as I said, any elevation you have will really help out seeing settling and accumulating snow tomorrow. And again, with falling snow as well. But it does look like, although we've got some decent snow chance over the next couple of days, they are going to be sort of hit and miss. Some areas are going to do well, some areas are going to be quite disappointed. Very much looking by the end of this week, when it looks like we may start being in an easterly wind with some much colder air, which would provide sufficient cold conditions for snow to fall pretty much anywhere. So check out my video from earlier if you haven't already, and in that I highlight the risk, and it's looking like it's going to be turning quite cold next week. Just the longevity and severity of that is still yet to be decided. But anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribing, and I'll see you again tomorrow for another video.